Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. We are black and yellow today, you guys.
Oh, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. That's hilarious. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
And it's your girl, Britt. You guys can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
So, you guys, the Super Bowl is set, obviously. I'm sure we were all watching football this weekend. We are going to be getting into a lot of that kind of news in the post-up, so stick around for that. Also, tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary, excuse me, since Kobe and Gianna tragically passed in that helicopter crash. So we are going to be sharing some of our favorite moments, our favorite Kobe moments in tomorrow's live show, just to honor him and remember his legacy. So make sure that you stick around for all of that. I think it's going to be meaningful. I think we all may cry a little bit. So yes. It's going to be, make sure you come armed to the live show with your own favorite moment from Kobe, you guys, so that you can chime in the chat. We would love to hear it. And then before we jump into Need to Know News, does anyone want to share anything fun that happened over the weekend? Anything special that you guys did? Let me know. Jackie.
You guys know what I was doing over this weekend. I was so ready for that UFC 257. I was geeked for it. Shouts out to all the ladies on that card because they brought all the heat. They brought most of the heat. Them ladies was out there getting it done. I'm probably been watching UFC for a while, and it's been a long road to get the UFC fights, the women's division, to the point where now those fights are just as important, if not almost more important sometimes than the main card. And them ladies, because they be out there brawling, and I was so proud. But the main fight between Conor McGregor, we'll talk about that a little bit, between him and Dustin Diamond Poirier, and didn't go the way that I thought, but kind of did, actually. I predicted that he would lose, but not like that. Not like that. So we'll talk about that in post-up.
All right. And Britt, did you do anything fun this weekend?
I did the same thing as Jackie. I watched UFC 257. I was the only one with my small group of friends that thought Dustin was going to win. I used to live in Lafayette, Louisiana, so I was like, them Southern boys, I don't know, you don't want to mess with them Southern boys sometimes. And just Conor being out of the game for so long, I'm just like, I just don't think he's going to win his first fight back. And he was hitting heavy in the first round. You could tell already he was getting really tired, and I was like, this is going to end sooner than expected. I didn't think it was going to go the 5 rounds, and it didn't. It went shorter than I thought it was going to go, but yeah, I think it was interesting. I watched football all day yesterday. I specifically told everybody, do not bet on my picks, because my picks are not picks that I think are going to happen. It's just who I wanted to happen, and both of my teams did lose. I think there were a lot of bad calls in certain situations in games, made by coaches, made by refs, but that's my personal opinion. And we're moving forward with the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll be digging deeper into that in the post-up. But for now, let's talk about some basketball news. So last week, Jackie talked to you guys about, in the post-up, that really, really awkward, painful, strange, bizarre interview with Shaq and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I watched it back again last night, and I just was like, what was he even thinking in that moment? Did people think that he was that fans were gonna look at Shaq and be like, yeah, tough love? Like, it was just weird, and I thought it was pretty unprofessional. Since then, Donovan has received a ton of support from his teammates, but also he has 2 of the league's greatest right now in his corner. So LeBron James and Kevin Durant are both taking Donovan's side here. So as you can see, Cuffs the Legend shared this meme here that says, why are young players so sensitive when the OG legends give them constructive criticism? When did the respect level change? Now, you might remember that Cuffs the Legend is the same guy that got into a comment war with KD just a few weeks ago. So KD, I feel like, follows this guy, like keeps his notifications turned on, because he is always ready to go in the comment section of Cuffs the Legend's posts. And he did respond to this, writing, "Them old heads need to go enjoy retirement. These boys have coaches they work with every day." And I think that's a good point. I think there are times when advice from a former NBA player is warranted and appreciated. What Shaq did wasn't it. And they do have coaches for a reason. LeBron also chimed in, writing, quote, "There's a difference between constructive criticism and soft hating, though. I've seen it both ways come my way, mostly the hate. You can hear it in their delivery." Now, I think we can all agree that KD and LeBron are often on the receiving end of a lot of hate. So it makes sense that these two would take a sympathetic approach towards Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, I'm glad to see that people are coming to Donovan's defense here. I think it's deserved. Shaq was bizarre in that interview. But Jackie, let's talk to you first. Do you agree with LeBron when he says that there's a difference between constructive criticism and soft hating? And was Shaq soft hating?
Shaq is always soft hating, but that's just my perception of Shaq. I don't think Shaq ever says anything that's constructive criticism, because Shaq is still in the moment in time when he was playing basketball, and in his head, no one's living up to who he was or who Kobe was. So nobody's going to do anything great. I mean, he's got a whole show called Shaqtin' a Fool just so he can hate on people, you know? So that's kind of his thing, you know? And the thing is like, how did you just miss Donovan Mitchell in the bubble? Did you miss all of that? Because I don't honestly recall Shaq saying, you know, this is an amazing guy with amazing talent. I actually posted this on the Fumble Instagram page, and I was surprised. Yes, Britt, I always agree. See, that's soft hating right there. You see how she went to the chat to say that? That's soft hating.
Right, but it was funny because Devin was like, her first part was like, "Do you agree with LeBron James?" I was like, "Yes, she agrees with LeBron James."
But we have had those crazy moments where Jackie actually does disagree with LeBron. It only happens a handful of times. It's only happened.
It was like it's been like two, 3 times now. So it's not quite a handful yet, but yeah, it's been like two, 3 times now. But it does happen. It does happen. But in this specific situation, like I'm not a fan of Shaq, so it's easy for me to agree with LeBron on this one. And I think constructive criticism is saying something like, you know what, Donovan really has to step up on the times when his team is faltering. This is the guy that we know he's fully capable of scoring 50 points. And when his team is faltering, he needs to step up and demand the ball and do this. That's constructive criticism. Saying he's never going to be something when he's so young, that's just hating, and you're trying to tear somebody down. Criticism, especially when it's constructive, I think can motivate people, you know, or you could just be like Dame, and when people hate on you, you can get your little hand ready so you can wave bye to them, you know, however you want to take it. Donovan probably needs to kind of channel a little Dame Dalla a little bit, but he went out there, he did his thing, and I loved how he responded to Shaq, which is, all right, I got nothing to say to you. And that would be my response to Shaq from this moment forward. I'm not going to change my mind suddenly and forget this moment in time when you hated on me. If I go out there and I win the championship and Shaq says, "How does it feel?" I'm going to be like, all right. Who else got a question? I ain't got nothing else to say to you.
I would love that. I would love that for sure. Britt, let's talk to you now. Do you think that reporters, commentators, TV personalities need to stay in their lane a bit more? Do you think that this situation will cause people like Shaq or Charles Barkley to ease up a little bit?
No, I don't think people need to. I mean, that is part of their lane to, you know, analyze the game and whatever the case is and call stuff out when they see it. But there was nothing to be seen there. He was just saying something out of nowhere that didn't make sense. You know, like the team just won. He had a good game. So, like, I get if you're pointing out, like, hey, in the third quarter, you were 0 for 15 and you're on your, you know, shots, but like whatever, said something like that and noticed something that happened and then talked about it. And it was like, okay, what can you do moving forward? What are you going to be working on? Whatever, like everybody else does, because that is what everybody else does. He specifically started the conversation saying, "You're one of my favorite players, but I think you're terrible and you're never going to do anything." Like, what backhanded compliment was that? Like, it was so trash and terrible. Like, it just didn't even make any sense. So I don't think anybody else comes like Shaq comes at people. I think everybody else, whatever the reporters, any other, commentators and stuff like that, they don't come like he comes. That's just Shaq, I feel like, for the most part. Obviously, even like you'll see occasionally like other people clearly hate on certain players or certain whatever. Like I will hate on Tom Brady all the time. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But like, and it's very openly, I am hating on this person. Stephen A. Smith openly hates on the Dallas Cowboys. Like there's, know those moments like that, but Shaq tries to cover it up by saying, you're one of my favorite players, but I think you're whack and you're never going to do anything in life. Like, get out of here.
Right? It's like
on our Instagram, Instagram page, the majority of the people who responded to that tweet where I was like, oh, look at this. They said that people are soft in the NBA now, and they can't even take criticism, blah.
True, a lot.
That sometimes, but this wasn't that time, This wasn't that. So I was, so it's one of those things where it's just kind of a head tilt to me, like, okay, but describe soft, because this is not, first of all, Donovan handled it like a boss. There was no part of him that was soft at all. So what's the soft part? I'm confused.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it was very weird.
Like Shaq wanted him to say in that moment, like, well, what do you think I should do to get better? Like, how do you think I should, whatever? Right. Like, like what was your...
That would have been soft.
Whenever you ask a question, you always kind of predict the answer so then you can have a follow-up question to it. Like, Shaq, what was your prediction of what you thought Donovan was going to say? Like, were you then going to continue on and say, well, I actually think this, and then maybe give him criticism at that point, but you didn't even do that because I don't know.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It was the weirdest thing I feel like I've seen in a while, because who even says you're my favorite player, but I, like you said, Britt, I hate everything you do. You suck. Obviously, then Donovan's not your favorite player, Shaq. What is the point? What are you doing here? If you think he's so terrible, he's not your favorite player. It's just stupid. But you guys, let's get into the next need to know news story about a player that none of us are fans of, but damn, he has a big following. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So they are officially meeting the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I know that we're not Tom's biggest fans, but are we ready to call him the GOAT yet? There's been a lot of debate online about whether or not he's the GOAT of the NFL, if he's the GOAT of all sports in general, which I think is just stupid, but let's talk about it. So some people, like I said, are saying he's the GOAT of all sports. One person tweeted, the question is not whether Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever. It's not whether he's the best football player ever. It's whether he's the greatest American athlete ever. And then another person responded, as you can see here, writing, laughs in Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Simone Biles, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, which is funny because these are all amazing athletes that are listed. Another said, quote, is Tom Brady the greatest athlete of all time? And another responded saying, y'all have got to watch more sports, which I thought was funny. So let's just, let's discuss. I know what you guys are going to say, but I'm going to hear it anyway. Is he the greatest, or is he the most accomplished? Is it too crazy to say he's the greatest of all sports in general? Is he the greatest of the NFL? Let's get into it. Britt, I want to hear from you first here.
One thing is for sure. Tom Brady made a deal with the devil a long time ago, because if you even watched the game yesterday, within 7 pass attempts, Tom Brady had thrown 3 interceptions. Luckily, very luckily for the Bucs, only one of those interceptions turned into any points for the Packers. The other 2 didn't even score. Field goal off of nothing. That was honestly the most luckiest, craziest, because it's not some bogus random quarterback he's going against. That is Aaron Rodgers, who is also one of the greatest to do it. So it was just so crazy to see the game, how it played out. And then even towards the end of the game, when then they decided to kick a field goal instead of just try to score. It was just like everything was so weird about everything about that game. And for the man did not have a great game yesterday. Tom Brady did not have a great game, so we're not putting this win on Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't win that game for his team yesterday. honestly did everything he possibly could to lose that game yesterday, and they still won. The deal was made with the devil a long time ago because now Tom Brady is going into his 10th Super Bowl, possibly winning his 7th, which will be unheard of in Super Bowl in NFL history. Like even his last win, not last year, but the year before that, was unheard of as well. You know, like it is crazy. There's not even teams that have won 6 Super Bowls besides the Steelers before that moment, and then Tom Brady gets 6 himself. You know, it's just like insane what just ends up coming to work out for Tom Brady. And then obviously Bruce Arians said it yesterday again, and he said it several times earlier in the season. When Tom Brady was with the Patriots, he never got that opportunity to coach. Bruce Arians says, I just sit back and let him do what he does, which is literally worked out. He's been able to build the team exactly how he wants to. He's called all his homies, got all his homies on the team. Can we also say maybe he should immediately go into a GM role as soon as he's done with football? This man, I don't know how he does it because he did not have a good game, but he is the greatest NFL quarterback ever. Most winningest. Is he the most athletic? Absolutely not. The man can't even run two centimeters down the street. You know, like he can throw a football still at 43. Yes, he has done everything to physically be good. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the Tom Brady cookbook. The food is insanely crazy. His diet is insanely crazy, which has allowed him to play this long to continue to keep winning. But that's the devil's work. I don't know what else.
That's so funny. All right. So, you know, hate the guy as much as you want, but he has done something to make it work because 10 Super Bowls is a lot. Jackie, where do you stand on all of this? Is he the GOAT of football, the GOAT of all sports, a GOAT at all? Let me know.
I mean, you can't. I don't like Tom Brady. Like you said, none of us do. You can't sleep on the fact that he's a GOAT, but you can also call him the GOAT of asterisks too, because he's got a lot of asterisks by his name. Because you got some cheating going on, you got Deflategate, you got Spygate. You know, you've got all these. Let's not forget the Tuck Rule. You know, so yeah, he's the GOAT of asterisks too. So for everyone who says he's the GOAT, okay, I'm not going to argue that, but let's talk about some of the reasons why he's been able to get to where he is. I hate when I see quarterbacks like Big Ben or Aaron Rodgers. I mean, guys are full on mauling them like they're big bears or something. If you even blow on Tom Brady too hard, the flags come out and it looks like confetti because all the refs are throwing flags. You got to like gently lay him down, forget the fact that he's still holding the ball. There are definitely things in play that have helped get Tom Brady to where he is that other quarterbacks and other teams just don't get. And you got to kind of acknowledge that. And if someone has a GOAT conversation with me about Tom Brady without acknowledging that, then it's a difficult conversation to have, because if other quarterbacks and other teams have gotten the same leniency that Tom Brady and the Patriots had, would they be in a different position? And now we can't even say that it was just the Patriots. For the longest time, we blamed it on the Patriots, but now he's with Tampa Bay, and that favor followed him right over to Tampa Bay, and them refs are still making them same calls. So obviously This is a Tom Brady thing. So I agree with Britt. He made a deal with the devil, and the devil's running the NFL. So no, he's not the greatest of all sports. So I'm not giving him that. Not at all.
Yeah. Oh, and I will talk a little bit more about this favor that Tom Brady is getting in Britt's take. So make sure you stay tuned, because there's going to be some Super Bowl favor that he's getting as well that the NFL just announced. So it's the devil. I have no other explanation.
It doesn't make sense. You know, there are theories that aliens live among us. Maybe Tom Brady is one of them. Maybe it's not even dealing with the devil.
Working with the devil, all of it combined. And you know the Illuminati be coming on this channel messing us up, so maybe we should just stop talking now.
Before the whole channel just go down.
All right, you guys, great conversation. Loved hearing it. But Jackie, can you take us into the post-up? Because I know we've got a lot to cover there.
Yes, let's get it. Let's get into the post up. We're going to continue on this Tom Brady topic. I saw y'all in the chat saying me and Britt are salty. We're not salty. Just because we spit facts about the asterisks that this man has does not mean. Yeah, none at all. None at all. So take it back. But look, the fact of the matter is Britt's absolutely right. That man threw 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And if Green Bay had scored on one of those drives, we'd be talking about a different Tom today, and y'all be having different questions like, oh, should he retire? That's what y'all would be saying, but you're not. Nonetheless, Tom has proved that he can do it without Belichick with the help of the devil in the NFL. He has proven that he can do it without Belichick, and so now him and his bestie Grunk have decided to recreate the video from the last time they went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we can't play this whole thing because of copyright infringement, so we're just gonna have to sing along. Sing along if you know it, because y'all know the song. So let's. First of all, it's hard for me to hate on this video because I love Grunk ever so much, and he's just a clown, and I just love him so much. This is a dope little video that they did. So if you want to go check it out, it's on Tom Brady's page. I think it's on Gronkowski's page as well. But again, shouts out to Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. I think I'm more excited for Tampa Bay because this is a big moment for them. But they're getting the devil's due, basically. They got some of that devil's blessing. I ain't got nothing else to say on that one. So we gonna move on to this next one because ESPN, you want to talk about a post that did not age well. So I didn't see it, but thankfully Brian Holland posted this onto his Twitter, and it's a graphic that ESPN posted before Sunday's Chiefs versus Bills game. Now take a look. Y'all can see what's X'd off, right? So it says the Chiefs have the better head coach and the better defense, but the Bills have the better wide receiver and the better quarterback. That is... Okay, y'all can have this Tyreek Stephon conversation if you want to, but I just don't see that happening. But Patrick responded perfectly. Look at his response. Just a yawn. I ain't got nothing else to say. I love this. Is there a different way that you would have responded to this one, Britt? If you were Patrick?
I mean, after the game, go back and respond and show again that you want the AFC Championship game, probably. But yeah, I mean, I do personally like Diggs better than I like Hill. That's just me. So I would have given the Bills that check. And I actually personally feel like the Bills have a better defense to me than, I don't know. I feel like it
way better defense. I feel like the Bills had the way better defense. And so that's why I was like, maybe this was supposed to be opposite. You know what I mean? Maybe it was an accident.
But then head coach, you can't say that the Bills have a better head coach than the Chiefs do. Like,
true.
I don't know. That whoever did that is the interns. Let's go back to your interns, Jackie.
Yep.
The interns made that check.
Damn interns. Y'all gonna have to let me start vetting these interns. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, Devin used to sing me into What We Not Gon Do, and that all started because Chris sung himself into the post-up one time, and he was like, I'm about to dive in. I don't know if y'all remember that. That's how that whole thing started. That song, Dive In, is by your boy Trey Songz, who I actually love, but he kind of got beside himself at a Chiefs game. Take a look at this, y'all. This is a Trey mess. Y'all see the title. It is a Trey mess. And how he behaved. And in this social climate, I'm just surprised that he would even take this action. So y'all see Trey Songz. Well, you don't see him right now because he's kind of hemmed up. In a second, he's going to put the cop in a very well-executed headlock. And you can hear his boys in the background talking about, Trey, don't do it. Trey, don't do it. He did it anyway, just like on them TikTok videos where they just, girl, don't do it, girl. I did it. That's exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Girl, I did it. That's exactly what happened here. But here's the thing. This is my takeaway from this video. First of all, Trey, the hell? Why are you sitting with the commoners first and foremost? Why don't you have like a box seat somewhere? Second of all, are you legit fighting with a cop? And then thirdly, shouts out to this cop, because anybody else, if this had been a traffic stop, we'd be talking about a different situation today. Trey Songz might actually be a hashtag. I think the only reason this cop didn't pull his gun was because there's so many other people around. But this is proof, ladies and gentlemen, that cops can use restraint, and they can use whatever. Maybe some better takedown moves would have been better for this cop, but they can restrain somebody long enough for backup to come. They don't necessarily have to shoot people. So shouts out to this cop for hanging on in there as long as he could till the homies came with backup. This is the craziest thing I've seen in a long time. I don't mean to laugh, but he put my man in a straight headlock. I don't know how he thinks this is going to go, but he was arrested for trespassing, resisting arrest. Both are misdemeanors, but he also has assaulting a police officer, which is a low-grade felony, so we don't know how that one's going to turn out. So, Devin, when you saw this video, first thoughts?
I mean, like, I don't even know what to say. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. I just want to know what went down. Like, how did this even, like, what were they fighting about?
I don't know. From the looks of it, Trey was sitting down when the cops came up, so maybe he was getting loud and belligerent and probably asked him to leave. And then he was like, "No, I'm not leaving." That's what it looks like to me. I couldn't really hear that. All I could hear is his homies in the background say, "Trey, don't do it."
Wait, I know, I love that, because I thought of that TikTok at the exact same time. I saw that it says that Kansas City Police Department says fans were complaining that he wasn't following COVID rules, and I guess was putting up a fight about that.
He did not have a mask on at the time. That's true.
I'm on his Instagram right now looking at his IG stories, and like there's ones like, you know, he's just chilling here without his mask.
Oh, other way. Yeah. Oh, he's got it under his chin. Yeah, he's got it under his chin.
Yeah. But he's fine now. He just posted this and said he's back home. So he posted this 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, that's good. 20 minutes ago, now he's back home. But I'm just like, look, that headlock though. Shouts out. I don't know what kind of wrestling skills, what wrestling background you got, but that was a very well executed headlock. But just in the future, maybe don't do that to a cop. And don't be a Karen. If they come up to you and tell you to put your mask on, put your damn mask on. This is ridiculous. All right, let's move on to this next one, because this was a moment in time. I think we all like Steph. None of us have like bad feelings about Steph Curry or Wardell, Stephen Curry. None of us have bad feelings about him. I think we all think he's a great guy. I say often that he's kind of changed the landscape of the NBA and made it so when you call someone a shooter, you mean the three-pointer. So he has now passed Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, who I love to hear call games. He's one of my favorite commentators now, but he has passed Reggie Miller for the second most three-pointers in NBA history, and this was after he made his 2,561st career three-pointer early in the second half of the 127-108 loss to the Utah Jazz. That's so heartbreaking. You're breaking these records and losing at the same time. But now he has to just make 411 more three-pointers, and then he will pass former NBA Hall of Famer Ray Allen for the most in NBA history. But I love that Reggie took this moment to bring himself and his little one. He surprised Steph on the post-game interview because Reggie's little one is a huge Steph Curry fan. So take a look at this.
Around the world, Steph, number one, congratulations. This is an unbelievable achievement. But the work is not done. Obviously, I know you're chasing Ray, but you are an inspiration to so many little ones like mine. And I'm just so proud of all the work because I know what goes into that. I know the countless hours when it's easy to, go hang with your boys, hit the club, sleep, do other things, but you're in the lab getting your work done. So the sacrifices, obviously, with your family, you're an unbelievable father and family man. And I know there's sacrifices that come with that. And the blend that you have with your family in basketball and Dub Nation, the Millers are very proud of you.
See, now that's how you do it. Shaq. Pay attention to how Reggie does that. You encourage people when they're doing good things. If you want to go back and see the beginning of that interview, it's all over social media. And Reggie's little one, he was like, "Hi, Mr. Curry." It's so cute because he's wearing also a Steph jersey. But that's how you build people up. You let them know you appreciate their sacrifice, especially for someone who like Steph, who, like Reggie said, is a very family-oriented person and has to take time away because he's not just great. That's not something that comes just naturally like that. That's something you definitely have to put in the work. So shouts out to Steph. Congratulations. I'm sure he will get Ray's record sometime this year, maybe next year. But congratulations, Wardell. I'm just going to be calling you that from now on now. But let's go to this next one because this next one is both funny and annoying at the same time. Because if you don't know, the Cavs actually swept the Nets. We're going to talk about that later. But they beat them 125-113 on Friday night. But now we have to go into this next game because they finally changed their losing streak against Miami, which is great because in the fourth quarter, it looked like the Nets might actually go on to this 3-game losing streak, in part because Bam Adebayo had 41 points and 9 assists. But in the end, the Nets pulled it out. It was an impressive showing by Bam. And, Kyrie is all in his feelings like all the time. So he wanted to swap jerseys with Bam. And here come the COVID police. Take a look at this. Now, first of all, I don't understand this at all. We done been all physical, all up. And why you gotta grab me by my butt, number one, to push me away from this jersey swap? Get out my booty. This is inappropriate, number one. And second of all, Dre, why you gotta hit me in my head as I'm walking away? I don't like any of this at all. Twitter didn't like it either. There were several posts about how stupid this was. This one says definitely wanted to do a jersey swap, and they will get it done another way without the cameras. That said, this is dumb. They can grope each other all game, but can only touch elbows post game. And then this last user said the same thing I said. Why he shove his head like that though? That was unnecessary. Yeah. Devin, Britt, go ahead. I don't know which one is it.
Wait,
Britt, you go ahead.
Hey,
Devin's up. Okay. Devin's up. You go, Devin.
That butt grab, I agree with you, Jackie. That was really very, it was like a real grab of the butt. It wasn't like a little tap.
Right.
He really got
you
in
got
there.
Cheeks. Right.
Yeah. I didn't like that. And also, if the whole issue is that, they don't want them getting that close after the game, why is it okay for this guy to come up and shove his finger up his up his butt? You know what I mean? That seemed very strange. These guys are sweating on each other for pretty much an hour. I don't understand why it's such a big deal if they want to exchange jerseys after the game. That was just all I wanted to say. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. Britt, what were you gonna say?
Well, maybe the butt is just the least place you can contact COVID. So maybe he knows something we don't know, and he went there because he's like, oh, where can I? Okay, the booty. And then just shoves him with the booty. Because if he grabbed his arm, then that's more, COVID friendly, I guess. Two, DJ hitting him in the head, that's a DJ. He's just a goofball, and he probably did it you got in trouble, and was being stupid. So I think that's what it was. DJ was not doing that. It was just funny.
That whole thing reminded me of Tropic Thunder. I don't know if you guys remember that scene in Tropic Thunder where he was introducing his soft drink called Booty Sweat. That's what I felt the guy got when he went in there with his hand, straight up booty sweat. It was inappropriate and gross. I'm not a fan.
He's sniffing it after. When he gets the straw, he's like, ooh.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
But it's
all right, we're going to move on.
Because the NCAA, if you guys have watched their games, the players are sitting 6 chairs apart. The whole team is so far. And I'm like, then they get out the court and they're high fives,
and all second each other. Right. It makes no sense. No sense at all. This next one doesn't make any sense either, and I'm glad it was just a joke because this is something none of us want to see. But Dwayne Wade, Whew, Lord Jesus, he got on his Instagram and posted this. First of all, can I shout out everybody who's using Bernie Sanders in their tweets, because I love this. And so he says, I'm trying to convince my wife that we should start an OnlyFans account. And she's looking at me like, with the Bernie Sanders. First of all, no, please, God, no. Look, Gabby and Dwayne, I love you guys, but there's some things about your relationship that Gabby's made known, particularly on radio. If y'all don't know, look it up. No OnlyFans for you. That is vile and detestable. But Twitter seems to agree. They're like, nope, please don't do this. This person is from Africa. They have a much better idea, which I love. Why don't you put together an exhibition game plan with former players in your generation and travel to different African countries, also in Europe? People saw you only on TV for those years. Think about this after COVID-19 is gone. I will take Gabby to shop in all African stores. Do that. Don't do an OnlyFans. None of us want to see it. Other users are convinced that it's going to be a little bit too much. Do some movie cameos with y'all little shirt off if you need to, but don't even think about putting your goodies behind a paywall. Gabby will choke you out, and not in a good way. And Braun, get your boy. I agree. I cannot. But to be fair, and I've never been on OnlyFans, but there were some people in the comments that said OnlyFans isn't always just about nudity. But I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Just have to say, based on that birthday post that Dwayne put up, they're not doing it because they want to teach people how to knit. They're doing it because they would do OnlyFans type stuff. Like, let's get one thing straight, and I hope they don't do that.
Right. Y'all are kind of freaky. Y'all are freaky. And when you said OnlyFans, Dwayne, you wasn't talking about like, oh, this is the best way to sustain a marriage. No, you're not. There's going to be some nasty freaky deaky, and we know it. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, let's go to this next one. So now we talked about this a little bit. UFC 257. I had said that I thought that Conor McGregor was going to lose. I was pulling for him to win, but I wanted him to win because I like Conor McGregor. But the fact of the matter is he's been out of the game for a while. He's changed up his team, and he was nice. He was way too nice. He was respectful in all pre-fight interviews. He was even respectful at the end. But Dustin the Diamond did his work on his leg, and that's kind of what shifted things. And like Britt said, Conor came out looking good, but he got tired really quick. Not tired enough that I think he's worried about this next one, because Conor did get $5 million from that fight, but Jake will not shut up. And here he is again.
Hey, Conor. Hey, Conor. I got $10,000 for you. Cash. Cash, baby. Cash money.
Who is that?
$50 million.
First of all, do the math right. You're putting zeros where zeros don't belong. He got $5 million. So what is your little funky $10,000 supposed to do? Help me make this make sense. Britt, can you help me make this make sense for little Mr. Jake? Because I don't understand what's going on here.
I don't know. I feel like he lowered the price now because he's like, oh, you ain't worth crap now. You just lost. So now, like, the money was up here, but now it's down here because you whack. I feel like that was the call out that he was trying to say.
Okay. Well, Samuel in the chat says, I told you weeks ago Jake Paul would knock out Conor McGregor in a boxing match. Okay, this is what we not going to do. Let's have a mini what we not going to do moment. I'm not finna box you. I am a UFC fighter. I'm going to kick you in the face, Jake, because that is what you deserve. We're all tired of hearing from you. If you want to have a true UFC bout, I would pay to watch that just to see him get knocked out. But Samuel says he offered him $50 million. Jake don't have $50 million. Stop it right now. All right, let's go on to this next one because none of this is making sense. Let's go on to this next one because we about to have a Monday drama tag team because y'all know I don't know what's going on with this one at all. So first of all, you guys know former quarterback Jay Cutler. So he and his wife, Kristen, both posted this exact same picture to their Instagram. So I got this one from her page, and she basically said, 10 years strong, nothing can break us. And I'm like, okay, cool. Jake has the same picture on his Instagram. Fine. But then some girl named Madison, she posts receipts to her IG. And those don't seem to indicate that this loving couple thing is the same. So she's basically saying, well, he's basically saying, I'm on my way. And she's like, on your way where? And he goes, on my way to see you. And she says, you have to ask me first. And he goes, or if it doesn't work now, I can come at a later time. That's the gist of that. I'm not reading that word for word. And then she posts this picture of the two of them together, which was also on her Instagram story. Do we have that one? Of her and Madison and Jake together? Yep. So she posts this. So these are the receipts, apparently, that something's happening between these two. I don't know when these pictures were taken. Y'all know I wasn't going to look it up because I don't care. But you know I know who will know is Devin Howard. Devin, please tag in and tell me what's going on here.
Okay, so first there needs to be a little bit of backstory here. So obviously Kristen and Jay dated, they were married and together for 10 years, and then they got divorced or announced their separation back in April. Since then, they've dated other people, and basically what happened is Madison started, like, I guess, sort of seeing Jay, and then Kristen started seeing Madison's ex, Austin, which is weird. So they just did a little switcheroo there. So there's a lot of tension. Yes, between these couples here. It's you know, there's a lot of back and forth. Kristen said that they were just friends. She and Austin were just friends, but then these receipts that Madison show obviously prove that Jay was interested in Madison, whether or not they were seriously dating. Now, I think that this Kristen and Jay post, these identical matching posts, is for sure just a publicity stunt, because they know that Madison is out there posting all of these receipts. She's dragging Jay's name, and I think that the Kristen, there's so many names, Kristen and Jay's publicists probably were like, let's just smooth this over. We're going to show you two as this united front, exes, but still co-parenting and working together. And that's why they both posted the same thing. That's my theory on it anyway, because Madison is still out there posting stuff, revealing stuff. She's getting called out for it by Kristen's friends. There's a lot going on here, but yeah, I don't think that Jay and Kristen are really back, you know, feeling this like love with one another. I think they're just trying to combat all of the drama that's happening. There's that.
So you don't think they're fully reconciled? This is just a let's shut up this Madison girl thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're fully reconciled at all, because Jay has proven in the past that he like wants to get back at Kristen. He posted pictures with Kristen's ex right after they announced their, or her enemy right after they announced their separation. Like, I don't think that he's out there trying to be this good guy to Kristen.
Okay. All right. See, I told y'all, Devin would know. So thanks for shedding some light on that. I didn't really care for Jay that much when he was playing. So you know damn well I don't care what's going on in his life now. So I appreciate you, Devin. I really do. All right. So look, if you guys have ever watched a high school game, you know that those kids are pretty skinny. Like, it's so weird to me sometimes to go back and watched LeBron in his high school days, even though I did, because he was the only one that I saw. That was the first time ESPN kind of did that. But pretty skinny, right? So I've never even seen a high school kid break the glass of a rim, let alone something like this. Check out what happens when this kid gets this dunk and tries to show out a little bit. Yeah, so that happened. So I had to watch that a couple of times. Like, was this on purpose? Was this some sort of stunt? But no, this was a legit accident. Kid slams the ball. He hangs on it for a second. It wasn't even that long. Somebody could have really, really gotten hurt. So my first thing is, oh my God, this is faulty equipment. Y'all need to immediately sue the manufacturer or whatever. Of course, I went to Twitter. People are blaming the kid, which is crazy to me. There's like the basketball did not fall. The basketball, he meant hoop, did not fall down. It was pulled down. That player is lucky he is not facing reckless endangerment / manslaughter charges. First of all, nobody got hit. You whatever. Next one. So, now this is in response to a whole thread. So many people were like, yeah, they should ban that kid from basketball. They shouldn't let him play, blah, 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 blah. This last one says, how are they supposed to know it wasn't stable enough? Players do that all the time. They should make sure their baskets are safe, and people don't do that. And then this idiot says, most high school gyms have signs posted to not hang on the basket. I ain't never seen said sign. I'm not saying it's not there, but I know I didn't see it when I was playing high school ball. And so even if it was there, I don't know a high schooler that would have read that sign or paid any attention to it if it was there. But then finally a user made some damn sense, and he said, for one, he didn't pull it down. He hanged on it. On top of that, those type of rims maybe made by Spalding are able to be hung on. Spalding states that the rims can support up to 300 pounds. This is clearly manufacturing error. This is not the player's fault at all. But the fact of the matter is this person had to chime in because there were countless people blaming the kid for this moment and saying that he was reckless and they should have some sort of consequences. I was floored by that. That is not what I expected to see. So I'm glad that there was one person with some common sense in this situation. But this last one is probably my favorite one, because you guys know sometimes when you're a kid and you're playing ball, you get confused who's supposed to do what. Maybe you want to take the ball out. Maybe I think I'm supposed to take the ball out. This is the best way to settle that argument. Take a look. I think they have solved all of our political problems. Like, let's not argue about it. Let's just rock, paper, scissors this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's just do that. I love that one. That's a perfect way to end Post Up. And now let's get into this What We Not Gon Do, because it's here, y'all. We finally have it. The Nets have all three people together to make this super team that everyone's supposed to be worried about. But so far, that super team has a record of 1-2 altogether. So not really posing a threat to everyone. But like I said last week, I don't think the Nets need to worry about anything just yet. They just got together, guys. This is a new thing. They're still going to have to build chemistry. They're still going to have to figure out their roles. I am glad because to me, it does look like Kyrie is committed. His first came back with the Nets. They went into double overtime with the Cavs. They lost, but that was Colin Sexton. He played out of his mind and he scored 42 points. On top of that, almost every person on the Cavs squad was in double digits. I think the only person who wasn't was Isaac Okoro. He only had 8 points. But the whole Cavs squad stepped up for that moment. They were ready for the Nets. And I said that they needed to figure out a way that they could replicate that. They kind of did because they beat them the second game. And then people really, once the Cavs beat them that second game, people came down on the Nets like, oh, this isn't going to work. It's not, they don't work well together, blah, 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 blah. And don't get me wrong. I still am on the fence. I don't know if this is going to work, but I am not making a judgment after these 3 games that they've all been together, because the Cavs did go back to somewhat normal that second game. Colin only had 26 points. Jared Allen and Andre Drummond had 19. Kyrie had 38 points. James Harden had 19, but KD didn't play that game. So the Nets lost that game 113 to 125. So that one to me doesn't count on the where are we as these 3 people who have got to play this game. Right now they're 10-8. So they're currently in 5th place in the East. They still have 54 games left to play. So they have a little bit of time left to build their chemistry. I don't think there's any reason to think that they won't figure this out. I know Kyrie tends to retreat into his head. We've talked about that a lot. When he gets emotional, he can kind of draw inward. But James Harden goes missing on the court sometimes, especially in the playoffs. So they obviously have to figure this out. But James Harden is currently averaging 23 points a game, which is better than the 17 he was averaging his last 5 games with Houston, even though he did only put up 12 points the other night. But this is what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is look at these 3 games and think that we have a clue who the Nets are going to be, because we simply do not. They are still trying to figure out who they are as a team. They're still trying to figure out their roles. Britt and I think somebody should come off the bench between the 3 of them. All of you guys disagree with us on that one, but they still are figuring it out. And what I love is that Kyrie seems to be very committed to his team. And that was the question everybody had. He posted this to his Instagram. It's on his Instagram right now. If you guys want to go check it out, he says, we will be on that stage, the stage where the best of the best meet, the main stage, where those who can do, those who cannot Talk about those who are doing. If you are rolling with us, great, let's rock. If you're not, you want to talk about us regardless. So to me, that's the kind of energy you want one of your star players to have. And then on top of that, you want to see your main star in KD kind of co-sign on that. And so you can see KD right there. He says, "Speak on it, King." I went through to see if James Harden had responded to this. He did not. James Harden only has 280 people he's following on Instagram. So y'all know he saw this, but he did not respond to that at all. But I don't think it doesn't matter, because I know we think a lot about what happens on social media, but at the end of the day, it's what the chemistry that they're building together on the court and practice, things of that nature. And so we'll just have to wait and see. So I think the Nets are going to be perfectly fine. I think they are going to develop into what everybody thinks they are going to develop into. They will be an offensive threat. That being said, I'm still going Lakers in 5. But what we not going to do is say that we know anything about the Nets. But that's all I have for what we not going to do. And now let's get ready to go into, Devin, are you ready?
I don't have my water bottle
Britt
today.
Oh, dang. Okay, just fake mic it, I guess. All right, so now it's time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes.
Nice.
Oh, wait. Okay, I had to make sure my mute was not on. But it is time for Britt's Take. Happy Monday, everybody. We know who will be in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 55 will be taking place on February 7th at Raymond James Stadium, which is in Tampa. If you guys did not already know, the Tampa Bay Bucks will be the first team to ever host a Super Bowl and play in a Super Bowl as well. There have been several people that were like, oh, well, the Rams once played at the Rose Bowl for the Super Bowl. That was not their home stadium. Their home stadium was USC Stadium, not UCLA Stadium. So that is not facts. They did not play in their home stadium. They played in their home city, yes, but not their home stadium. This is the first time ever out of 55 Super Bowls that a team has ever hosted a Super Bowl and also been playing in that game, which is crazy. It's COVID, though. There's a lot more crazier things that are happening. 22,000 fans, the NFL announced, will be allowed to go to the game. This includes 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers that the NFL decided to give free tickets to. So Roger Goodell announced that he is giving 7,500 free tickets to vaccinated healthcare workers, which means 14,500 tickets will be sold to the public. Now, I was a little confused by this because I was like, is it really a good look for healthcare workers to be going to a game and watching people play football when they've told us millions of times to stay in the house and not go to these things? And yes, these are 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers, but there's 1,400 or 14,500 people that will also be in attendance that have not been vaccinated. Now, the NFL did say that they remove all liability of any fans who might get COVID or are carrying COVID at the game. They are not doing testing going into the game, but they release this list of basically oh, if you've had a fever within 48 hours, please don't come. If you've had a cough within 14 days or been around somebody, please don't come. They have this list of stuff. But if somebody paid $5,000 for a Super Bowl ticket, they're going to the game if they have a cough. I don't care what anybody says. They're still going to go to the game. And I was very curious because we've heard so many things about, okay, what does this vaccine mean? Do people who are vaccinated still have to wear a mask? And everybody's like, yes. So I went to who we are now back involved with. Thanks, Joe Biden, for that. And they actually explained it because I don't know. And so I'm just going to read the little thing to you. It says the percentage of people who need to be immune in order to achieve herd immunity along with this vaccine is 95% of the population need to be vaccinated. The remaining 5% will be protected by the fact that the 95% have been vaccinated. Okay. Not even 50% of the people at the game are are vaccinated people. So I just don't understand how it even benefits these healthcare workers to go and literally promote being at a game. Yes, this is a good thing that the NFL is trying to do as a good reward, because we all know how expensive it is to go to Super Bowls. I went to one a couple years ago when it was in Atlanta, and being at the game was amazing. It was great. Like, I was like, I can't believe I'm at a Super Bowl game, and had really good seats, and it was amazing. But I don't see how this makes sense. And like, literally, Roger Goodell, to like kick off this thing, was on Zoom with a whole department in, I believe, Orlando, where he had the whole entire COVID unit on Zoom and announced to them he would be giving them all tickets to the game. What hospital gets to have the whole COVID unit take off to go to a football game? These people ain't gonna get to go to no damn game. Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, they're working in the COVID unit, and guess what? They're literally working overtime, triple time right now, because people don't pay attention and people don't listen, and people are going to games and going to parties and going to events without wearing masks and all this kind of stuff, and they're backed up at work. So I'm lost here, NFL. I don't know what you were trying to do. I get what you're trying to do in this moment, but it just doesn't seem, number one, I don't feel like the majority of healthcare workers that you're giving the tickets to are going to get to go to the games. They're probably going to give them to somebody else who is not vaccinated, and now you're bringing more people into the stadium that aren't vaccinated. The stadium does hold 65 to 75,000, depending on, they have parts of the stadium that are standing room only. If you guys have ever seen the big boat that's right there, they have seating there. They have a standing room only right in front of that as well. But it just seems weird. Next thing that the NFL is doing for Super Bowl that you guys should know about is the NFL teams usually arrive to the Super Bowl a week ahead of the Super Bowl. It's a whole week-long thing. I've, worked Super Bowl stuffs, and, starting that Monday is when they have media day, and then it'll trickle on Tuesday. They'll do the awards ceremony, the NFL honors, and then there's events throughout the whole entire week. The teams get to do walkthroughs starting at the beginning of the week and, be on the stadium. If you guys didn't know, a cool random fact is the NFL grows a specific field of grass for the stadium. So even though it is at Raymond James Stadium, they're not using their actual field that they use. They have one specifically made for the Super Bowl that they start growing it months and months before the Super Bowl. They bring that in and lay that out 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, which they would be doing now. So today or tomorrow, they're actually going to be laying that grass down to get in preparation for the Super Bowl. And then after that time, the players can then go on to the Super Bowl. They have that week of the Super Bowl to go on that grass, get acclimated with it. We saw in yesterday's game against the Packers and the Bucks how important it is for players to know the field that they're playing on. We know Lambeau actually has a heated layer underneath their grass where it prevents, supposed to prevent like it from freezing and the rain getting in and then freezing it and having slippery spots, but they do still have slippery areas of it. And Bruce Arians made it very clear to the players for his team, the Bucks, that walk every inch of that field, because the players at Lambeau know that field very well, and they get the opportunity to play on it, and they know the slick spots. They know what's, the different feeling for it. They know what cleats to wear, because it's different than it's the only field actually in the NFL that's like that. So they have a very particular field, which is why they talk about home field advantage all the time. This is going to be very interesting for the Super Bowl, because although a special field is brought in, like I said, 2 weeks beforehand, the NFL has announced that the teams cannot play or arrive only a day before the game. So Kansas City Chiefs are arriving on February 6th to Tampa for their February 7th Super Bowl game against the Bucks. You're not going to tell me that the Bucks players are not going to be walking on that field before the Chiefs get there. Number one, we already talked about freaking Tom Brady having to deal with the devil. Those players are going to be on that field. The field is getting put in today or tomorrow. And you think from now till Super Bowl that those players won't get a chance to walk around on their field in their home stadium? I don't think so. The Chiefs do not arrive until February 6th, which means Media Day this year will actually be virtual, and they will be virtually done in their hometown. So they will be doing Media Day in Kansas City and not arriving till the day before, which means less time to rest, less time to do walkthroughs and all of this kind of stuff. It is going to be so crazy. They said they were doing this so they could prevent people mess the teams, because you know how each team does not have a thing that they have to adhere to as far as protocols are concerned league wide. Each team is kind of doing their own thing, so they don't want to have their routines messed up. So they want to treat it like they have been the whole season, as far as like, oh, the players have been only going to the away games a day before. But because Tampa's in their home city, they can sit back, relax. They don't have to worry about traveling. The Chiefs are not traveling until the day before the game. Like, that is unheard of, especially obviously for Super Bowl. Like I said, they come a week ahead of time. This gives the Bucs several opportunities to have, like this leeway or this like moment of like, oh, well, this is kind of home field advantage, even though it's not supposed to be like that for the Super Bowl. So I'm very interested to actually hear. I know we're over time. Jackie, what are your thoughts on this? The NFL putting into play that the team can't enter the Super Bowl or can't go to the Super Bowl until the day before for traveling, but Tampa Bay's already there. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to me.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. Number one, the fact that I didn't even know this. I didn't know that they grow this grass in advance. And the fact that the NFL does that is proof that they know that grass is safer than turf. That's number one. The fact that they do this is proof that they know that. Number two, there is no way in hell you can convince me that this wasn't all by design, to make sure exactly what you said. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is all by design. Everything is at play. I think that when you were talking about the healthcare workers, I 100% agree with you. But I had said on another podcast yesterday, I said the reason why I think that the NFL is doing that is the same reason they did the military, honor our veterans, which they were paid by the military to do, because they want to promote the vaccine, because the vaccine is not being received well with Americans who read. So it's, they're trying to promote that with us. And then they're trying to also give Tom Brady this advantage. And they're trying to, this is a perfect opportunity for them to do that, though, because they're like, oh, we're trying to be safe. It's COVID. We don't want anybody here. But, it's their home field. This is the first time. Yeah, it's the first time that anyone's even had home field advantage in the Super Bowl. And ironically, it's Tom Brady who now is going to be like, well, I mean, we were just practicing. We don't have an extra advantage. The day before, there's no way they're going to get to know that field a day before. This isn't even going to be fun to watch. But I'm still saying Kansas City is going to win, despite of all the favoritism that Tom Brady is getting. This karma's got to come back and bite him at some point. So I'm just going to say Kansas City's going to win.
Do you, one really quick addition to this, do you think if Tom Brady wins, this will be another asterisk just because of all the things I just spoke of? Yeah. For sure it's an asterisk. You have home field advantage and they don't even get to test out the field. Big asterisk. Right. Till the day before, traveling the day before. They are not traveling there until February 6th. It means they get there midday. They'll have a couple hours to get the field, and then Tampa gets the field, a couple hours, whatever. They go to sleep, and then they're not going to see the field again until game day. Woo, no, that's crazy. It's ridiculous. That's Britt's not buying it. It's crazy, y'all. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Would this be an asterisk for Tom Brady again if he wins the Super Bowl?
All right. Thank you, Britt. Okay, you guys, let's wrap up the show. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you know exactly when we're going live. Tomorrow it's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as usual, so make sure that you tune in. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and, again, be a nice person. It's a Monday. Do something nice for somebody. We'll see you guys later.